Dan Shannon is back with me, along with author Eric Kauffman and executive director of the National Immigration Forum, alinoorani, to discuss what is one of the most controversial and polarizing political issues, immigration. So, Eric, I'm going to start with you. You stated in the documentary, Me the People, that the rise in populist leaders in North America, like the US and in Europe, has been based on the issue of immigration. Explain that. How has that happened?
Well, this is really the key issue for explaining voting for the populist right in Europe, for voting for Brexit in the UK, and also for explaining why Trump wins the 2015 primary and then the 2016 election. And this is simply, if you look at voting data, survey data, you can see that, for example, whether you're rich or poor as a white American doesn't tell us whether you vote for Trump, but your views on immigration are hugely important for telling us whether you vote for Trump. And actually, up until COVID, immigration was the leading issue amongst Republicans. It had even reached about 40% almost of Republicans saying that was the number one issue facing the United States. Prior to the Brexit vote, similarly, about 40% of Brexit voters said that was the number one issue facing the UK. So far and away, the top issue, explaining the rise of the populist right. Just as another little statistic, in Sweden, 99% of Sweden Democrat voters want immigration reduced. And so that kind of gives you an idea of how ubiquitous this is.
Ali, I'd like to hear from you. Why do you think immigration has become this contentious issue? And maybe I'll correct, anti-immigration, it seems, has become so contentious, especially in the last 2 decades.
Well, I think what's happened over the last 2 decades is that you've seen an evolution, if you will, or maybe a devolution. Starting with populism and really trying to focus on economic issues, and that quickly kind of moves into nationalism and trying to kind of define identity and who should or should not be a part of the United States, and then turns into white nationalism quite quickly. And now what we're contending with quite a bit in the US is the ascent of Christian nationalism, where faith and politics and identity really mix together in this very, very toxic brew. And immigration is really kind of the perfect ingredient for that brew to become more and more toxic over the last 4 years, much less the last 2 decades. So the question very much is, okay, what do we do moving forward? But I think at its core, that's the problem that we're facing.
Yeah. Dan, from your findings in your great documentary, Me the People, what happens to a nation when a populist leader comes to power and pushes like kind of an us versus them mentality in their country?
This film started not as the title Me the People, but Immigrant Nation. And it was a reaction to Law 21 in Quebec, which was creating a schism around a very different ethos of immigration policies for the new CAQ-CAC government, which seemed diametrically opposite to what we sense is in English Canada. And this brought us into, the demonization of immigration and immigrants, and specifically visible minorities in Quebec, in a way that we were not used to here in Quebec. And then the film quickly grew out of that into, well, what's happening in the States, what's happening in the UK and around the world.
How can we educate then people about the importance of welcoming in immigrants and their importance in our countries, in our economies, and how they benefit our countries? I'll start with you, Ali.
So we think that we have to start with, in essence, meet people where they are, but don't leave them there. And for us, it's really engaging faith communities through their moral framework, and then helping them see that it is okay to change an in-group from a very isolationist perspective on the religion to something that is more welcoming.
All right. How about you, Eric?
A narrative which says your country is getting more and more diverse, celebrate that, will only work with part of the population, and it will actually backfire with another part. So you also have to have a narrative that says immigrants are coming in, but they've always assimilated and they will not leave your country vastly changed from what it was before. That kind of a message actually seems to work better with conservative voters who might go populist.
Okay, I'm going to leave the last word to you, Dan. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to echo what Erica just said, in the sense that I believe that education is the paramount point here. If we can In Canada in particular, we know that we have a big target for new immigrants because we need people to fill those jobs. I think we need to make them feel welcome. We need to create a level playing field for people, of different backgrounds in the country in terms of the economics and building the country as a cohesive unity.
All right, Dan Shannon, Eric Kauffman, and Ali Noorani, thank you so much all for joining us today.